So something I learned early on in my sales career back when I was super green and my manager was actually feeding me lines through a headset, which, the whole time I'm sweating bullets thinking like there's no way the person on the other end of the phone isn't catching on to the fact that my manager is literally telling me what to say and that there's like these big pauses. It was so nerve-wracking. But what I learned through that experience of being a totally green salesperson was that you don't need to know everything about what you're selling. What really matters is your ability to connect with people, to open a door to a conversation. My first sales job taught me that it's actually the soft skills, it's the persistence, the empathy, the communication skills. That stuff actually matters more than being a total product expert. My husband and I just moved to Florida. He got a new sales job, and I'll never forget his manager said the last rep that we had in this territory, he knew everything about the technology that we were selling, but he couldn't connect with people. And she said, that's why I met up with you as the last stage of this interview process, because I just needed to see if you were a normal person, if you could connect with a person. And the reason I tell that story is that it is soft skills, and it's not about being a used car salesman or being super pushy and persuasive. It's literally just about connecting with another person in a low pressure, authentic way. I went on to work for companies that sold thousands of products, right? So no rep in the company could even begin to know every single product. It was impossible. But what we had to excel in is getting our foot in the door with the prospect, building trust, and eventually closing the deal. Toward the end of my sales career, I actually stepped into a sales training role. And what that experience taught me is that it wasn't because I was the top rep or the best seller or the top expert. It was literally because I raised my hand to my manager and said, you know what I really like to do? I like to teach. Is there any opportunity at this company for me to step into a teaching role? They wound up sending me all across the country to train other sales teams on our product because I raised my hand, okay? Because I just said, this is what I'm genuinely interested in. Is there an opportunity for me to take a shot at this? And they said yes. And that's what I encourage all of my students to do, is just raise your hand enthusiastically for opportunities instead of waiting for somebody to come to you. One of the most valuable skills that I learned during my past career in sales was how to get my foot in the door with cold outreach. I was tasked with sending thousands of emails, making thousands of cold calls, knocking on doors, and that repetition over time, I noticed what worked and what didn't. There was certain tones I could take in a cold call that would disarm, the gatekeeper or the receptionist or the executive assistant. There were certain subject lines that I could write that caught people's eye and actually got them to open my email. Getting someone's attention is the hardest part, but once you do, you will be shocked at the chance that you get. So what actually is cold outreach? At its core, cold pitching is just connecting with a prospective client, a client that you want to work for, and getting them to actually listen to you and give you a chance. It's about initiating a conversation, building a relationship, and presenting your value. Unlike other marketing techniques like content creation or running ads that necessitate that you put yourself out there in a way that you're attracting people to you, cold outreach is the quickest way to get your foot in the door because it's something you can control. You can control how many conversations you start. It's a numbers game, and a certain percentage, when done right, of those pitches are guaranteed to result in conversations and closed deals and closed clients. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, well, that's great for you, but I don't have any sales experience. As a matter of fact, I am super introverted, and the thought of reaching out to somebody is terrifying. I totally get that. I think a lot of us that go into the writing profession are not natural communicators or salespeople, but I promise you these skills are learnable. I am not your typical salesperson. I am highly emotional. I am diagnosed with ADHD. I struggle with my mental health. I actually feel like I literally couldn't stay in the sales career because my emotions were just so up and down. I have job hopped more times than I can count. But all of these challenges are actually what made me a great copywriter that was able to empathize with people and understand people's needs and communicate in a way that resonates.